Today we're actually going to be making some shrimp, and this is what you see in front of you, some garlic butter shrimp. Yes, and we're actually going to do it from raw shrimp. How great does that look? Let's get started. Okay, here we have the ingredients in front of you. The first thing we're going to start with is the butter. We also have the great one, and then we have some garlic. Then we have some classic olive oil. We have minced garlic, even though we have real garlic. Then this is the important part. We have the raw shrimp, which is peel, devein, and tail off. Okay? Then we have some cilantro. Then we have the regular lime, some salt, regular pure ground black pepper. Don't tend to use that a lot. Some paprika. And then just in case, you may have to use some of this 100% lemon juice because we already have the real thing here. Depending on the taste I'm going for, I may or may not use this. So here are the ingredients. Fingers crossed that everything turns out the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so let's start with putting in some of the shrimp. I think I add a little bit more. So I'm not going to use the entire bag. So now we add our water to it. And let's say it being some warm water. Move it around with your hand a little bit, as you can see I'm doing currently. And that's just with regular water so far. And then what you want to do is take them out, put them in another container. Just as you see I'm doing here. See all that stuff that came out in the water? See the water a different color? You empty that. You add more water. Make sure it's a lukewarm water. You add them back in. Okay? At this point, you want to go in here with the lime. You squeeze it out a little bit. Notice I'm using a half of it. That should be enough water. And you just squeeze it on there. Make sure you do it to the point that you get as much as you possibly can. And since I want a little bit more liver in there, what I'm going to do is add my lemon juice in there. Because I figure if I squeeze it out, it's not going to be enough. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of that. Because this is the process of actually getting it clean. So you just want to roll around in that a little bit. And then you're going to let that sit. And then we're going to rinse it one more time. You notice a change in the color of the water and how they're looking now. So at this point, this is where I had it with the lemon juice and the regular lemon. And take those out. And it changes the water to a different color. Also that black stuff or any kind of residue is not in there. And then we rinse again. So this will probably be the third rinse. And after you take these out, then you want to put it on the paper towel and try to dry them off a little bit before you start seasoning them. Of course, the lemon is to get rid of that scent, because I understand it could be very strong at times. Okay, so this is the fun part. This is the part when we're actually going to season it. We already put in some paper towel and dried out, so it will look something like this. Now, as far as the seasoning goes, it should be very simple. And instead of using any McCormick seasoning, we're actually going to use some salt and some black pepper. Not sure, it'd be like a lot of a little bit, but I like to put on a generous amount because I don't want anything that's under season. I want a nice flavor to it. And here, what I'm actually opening now is some cilantro, something else I'm going to go ahead and add to it. Yep. I wish you could have smelled this. It smells so great. And that's how it's looking so far. Then we're going to add some paprika. See how it changes the color already to it? I didn't even start mixing it as yet. I then have my trusted classic olive oil. Make sure you can see that. Go ahead and open this because I don't use this a whole lot. I tend to use vegetable oil depending on what I'm making, but I think this one will work a lot easier once I can afford to get it open. Like technical difficulties here. I guess because I don't normally use this brand too. I always use another one, it's like organic. But this one will do just fine. There you go. Go ahead and pop this top as well. Making sure I'm using some to put on there. And that's just to help the seasoning and stuff to coat properly. Since it's just mine, I'm going to use my hands, roll them around. I think I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper because I want a little bit more flavorful, but I don't want to overdo it because this is something that's going to be settled and it's going to have all its juices on the bottom, as you see here. It's all the juices from the oil and stuff. So when you actually have this marinade, you want to pour a cover over it. Even some clear Reynolds wrap, or you can use some plastic wrap and put on there, or even wax paper. I'm gonna go ahead and use some plastic wrap because my hand is like this. I'm gonna use this paper towel, wipe it off a little bit. Get that nice and clean there so you don't have it all over your plastic wrap. And then you're gonna take some. Let's tear out how much you think is going to cover your bowl or container that you currently have it in. At this point, you want to put it in the refrigerator and let it have all these flavors come together. I'm going to put in some more. So I'm going to take this amount out and I'm going to put it on a little later. At this point, you just leave it bubble up a little bit. Oh yeah. And here we have some cut garlic. Add that in there. Spread that around a little bit. I don't want to use any minced garlic at this point in time, but I will use some thyme. Put that on there. Add just a little bit more. The main reason I like to put this in first is because I like a little caramelization of my garlic. Get nice and roasted, get a nice color before adding other things to it. Because it's going to have this different vibe as you go along and start adding other things to make a great sauce. But before we do the sauce, we actually need to fry slightly the shrimp. So here we have the shrimp. from in the fridge. And now we're just gonna go ahead and add that. And I also went ahead and added some pepper to mine because apparently it had seasoning, but to me it didn't seem like it had enough. Because I was going for a more delicious tasting and not light tasting. So here we are putting in the raw shrimp finally into the pan. It's a lot quicker using my hands, I know. And you're gonna first pop that in. See that gorgeous color it has on there? And it's sizzling. That made me in business now. Oh yeah. That's gonna give it that nice color too. Be sure to spread them apart too so you can have enough room to do what it's doing. Because you don't want them all up on each other. You just want to have them enough space. Because it is going to change in size, as you would notice later on. But you point out as much as it will possibly fit in the particular frying pan or pot that you choose to do this in. I'm using a frying pan today. And trust me, I'm going to get all of them fit. And they might not look that way, I know. But they're going to fit, trust me. If you've done this a million one times, you're probably saying, oh my goodness, she's putting a lot in there. Yes, I am. I want to make sure they're in there. And at this point, we can always put a cover over it. Or we can always steam it too. But what we're looking for right here is the color. Get those cooked. Yes. And it's going to be a little bigger in size right now. But as it cooks down, it's going to get smaller. Because, you know, it's going to shrink a little bit. But we all right with shrinkage, right? Not something too complicated. Make sure all of them are on there so you have enough space. So I'm pushing it down a little bit. And for me, I like to put something over it. Like a cover perhaps. The steaming. Help with the cook. It doesn't take a long time to do either. So that's a great sign. Okay, so we had it sitting there for a few minutes. Let's go ahead and take out the lid and see what's going on. See all the liquids are now consumed and it's in there. Now you understood why we added so much butter. Look at all that juices. And I'm just flipping some of them over before we have to remove it from the pan. The main reason we're going to remove it from the pan is because we're going to go ahead and work on having the sauce that's going to go with it. So I'll go ahead and add those in. Toss it around a little bit. It's going to have all them fumes come up. What I'm going to add with mine is some thyme. Good bit on there. Then I'm going to add some lemon juice. Squeeze some of that on there. The real one, not just the store-bought stuff. We have some more here. We're going to spray that on there too. It's going to have a nice aroma to it. Not too much, not too little. I always like the garlic to caramelize a little bit more because I love me some roasted garlic. That is so good to me. I'll put this on a little bit higher so it doesn't take a very long time. And then some people would prefer to just use the mixed one from mini jar. But if you're using some real garlic, it's going to change the taste. It's going to be a lot more stronger. And to me, a lot more flavor. Because that's what I'm actually looking for. The flavor component that makes it real good. As you can see, the color in the garlic is getting a little bit more on the darker side. And that's what I want to look for before adding the shrimp. Okay, so at this point, you want to go ahead and add your shrimp to it. And just have that toss around in there. Get it nicely coated. And what I love about this, it takes little to no time just to make it. And maybe we can all be complicated and mix the other sauces, perhaps add hot sauce or some crushed bell peppers or some crushed red peppers, give it a little heat if that's what you're looking for. I'll let that on there for a little while because I like mine solid color. But I'm trying carefully not to overcook them because overcooked does not mean it's going to be great. So you want to be careful as far as the cooking time. And we actually, and you see it has a nice golden color. And of course we had some bed of rice underneath there. And that's what we made today. Some good old shrimp. Till next time, this is Miss Around for Sparkling Memories.